Buenos dias, sister. Oh, chica, I am sending you so much love. Blessings to you, blessings, 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 and healing. I am so sorry that you've had to go through this. I'm so, so sorry. Mwah. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Well, of course, as many other people have said today, I kind of know what you feel like. Been there, done that. And one of the things that I'm really grateful for is that I had some amazing tools that really helped me through it. And these tools really changed my life. And I'm almost grateful I went through what I went through so that I knew how well they worked, so that I could not only use them in my own life, but as you know, I created my Feel Good Way as a way that I could share these tools with other people. And as the creator of my Feel Good Way, of course, I've gotten a lot of flack for the name. A lot of people will tell me, well, it's not possible to just feel good all the time. That's not really true life. And I totally agree, right? And so I'd like to explain that my Feel Good Way isn't about feeling good all the time. It's about feeling what you're feeling right now and feel it really good so that you can heal it and so that you can release it and so that you can move on from that feeling to something, anything that feels better. And so these tools really help you do that. And so the real truth of my Feel Good Way is to feel what you're feeling and really, really, really feel it so that you don't have to keep reliving it and you don't have to keep creating it to learn from it or whatever it is. That is why we do that. My version of why we do that is because we're addicted to it, and it's an endemic. It's all over the world. We've learned more about the brain in the last 20 years than since the beginning of time. And one of the things we've learned is that the human brain, even at rest, is slightly anxious. And that anxiety creates a chemistry that puts us in stress because of fear. And so what my Feel Good Way does is helps us break that addiction to the chemistry of feel bad and gives us a tendency to reach more towards feeling good. And from that place of feeling good, when stressful stuff comes at us, we are going to meet it from a different place. Okay, so anyway, let's just get started, because the quicker we do this, the quicker you're going to have a little more peace. So the first thing I want to show you, I call it Evo size number 1, evolutionary exercise number 1. And I understand that you're in a lot of pain today. And so I'm going to do it in a more gentle way. And however is possible for you to do this, adapt it. And if you're not physically able to do it for yourself, have someone else do it for you. So what I just want you to do is just take your hands and stroke them all over your head and then down your throat and past your collarbone. And do that 2 or 3 times. And then just rest for a moment with your eyes closed and notice how you feel. I would almost bet money that you just took an involuntary deep breath. When I teach this to my students, the first thing they usually say is colors are brighter, vision is clearer, hearing is more acute, and that they feel this really unusual feeling, and what they finally figure out is that it's present time, which is someplace most of us don't spend much time. The fight or flight response puts us in the past, where we're reliving trauma and analyzing the trauma, and in the future, where we're worried about the trauma that's going to happen there. But where the real healing happens is in present time. And that's the feeling you get when you do something, anything that feels good. And this is the thing I think works the best. So, the part about the neck, the more you can do the neck, the better, because these drugs are being transported in your lymphatic system, and both the good ones and the bad ones, and you have a lot of lymph stuff in your neck. So when you drag it down past your collarbone, that chemistry is going straight into your heart. Your heart beats and sends it out literally to every cell in your body, healing it. It's this chemistry that makes us relax and allow healing to happen at the cellular level. This is not woo-woo. This is about the science of how the body works and the chemistry. So by doing something, anything that feels good frequently throughout your day, you keep bringing your body back into the relaxation of this chemistry, as opposed to the tenseness of the other chemistry. So the second thing I want to talk about is one of the unfortunate side effects of living through something like you're going through right now is the frequency with which most people have to tell the story. We tell the story over and over and over and over. And every time we tell the story, we relive it and the chemistry that we experienced while it was going on. And this is not good for anybody. So I would really like to encourage you to only tell the story when you absolutely have to. And with the people that are around you, don't listen to their stories. Bring everything back to this is how we heal. And how did you heal? And how do we heal? Because I think reliving the trauma just makes it deeper and deeper within us and makes it harder to heal from it. I'm not saying that there's never a reason why you have to tell the story or why it can't be healing, but do it with as little frequency as you possibly can. And when you do have to tell the story, I want you to tap on something, on some part of your body or on some inanimate object. Again, I understand you're in a great deal of pain, so normally the first place I would tell people to tap is around their face, but of course that's not possible. The second place I would tell people is around the rib cage, but I understand that also not possible. So it can even just be the side of your hand, or it could be your foot tapping on the floor. Just tap and keep tapping the whole time that you're telling the story. And you can be really discreet with it. It can be just the tiniest little tap, and it can be just in your lap, or it can be, like I said, your foot on the floor. But by tapping, you are changing the neural pathways out of the trauma and into present time. So you're telling the story from present time perspective rather than from the terror of when it was actually happening. And of course, post-traumatic stress disorder is a real thing, and you already had some before you even went through this. And tapping is something that can help us with that post-traumatic stress disorder and also keep us from continuing to imprint it. And of course, there's a lot more that I can teach you about this, but today I just want to be brief. But we'll be doing this stuff together. So, but for now, just whenever you're telling the story, tap on something. It could even just be like, pretend like this is the table in front of you. You can tap any part of your hand against a table or the side of your leg or your knee. And while you're doing that, you are clearing trauma and keeping yourself in the present perspective. So tap. We've learned a lot about tapping over the last 20 years, and one of them is, yes, the protocols and the complicated stuff is super valid, but in real life, while you're walking around, just tap on whatever you can. And that's the beauty of these tools is that you can use them while you're walking around. We have so many tools that, you know, we have to set aside time for and such. But, you know, those are great, and I'm super for that. But what I discovered is that while I was healing, I really needed these tools to use while I was walking around in my day. And so one of the things that I realized, you know, was that I was addicted to this feeling, and that my brain in some ways was walking me around trying to get more and more of it. And that I understood that if my life was going to change, that I was the one that was going to have to change that. And so I already knew these and some other really good tools, but I wasn't really using them. So that was really the gift that I discovered, was how to really use these frequently. So the chemistry, when you do something that feels good, only really lasts about 5 to 10 minutes. And so what I started doing was I started setting a timer to physically, literally remind me to do something, anything that felt good, to change the chemistry. And I still use it all these years later. And so I have this program in my phone, and it's programmed to do interval timing. So like it makes a beautiful sound like that, just one time every 5 minutes. And then every 5 minutes I do something, anything that feels good. So these things that I showed you, or it could be a quick stretch or any kind of self-massage. And again, while you're going through this, have other people help you with your healing. So when people are visiting, ask for foot massages, ask for people to put their hands on you. But back to the timer. So it goes off every 5 minutes, reminding me to do something, anything that feels good, to keep bringing me and my chemistry and my nervous system back to this place. And as I mentioned, when you're in this place and trauma and stress comes towards you, you're going to meet it from a completely different perspective, because in this perspective, your senses are more acute, and your blood flow to the brain is in the front of the brain in present time, where we have conscious thought and ability to think consciously. So the timer was the most valuable tool that if anything changed me, it was realizing that I could use a timer to remind me frequently. Also, back in the old days, we used to tie a string around our finger. One of the things I do in my retreats is I paint smiley faces on everybody's thumbs, and so that every time they notice that, it brings them back to smiling and reminding them to do something that feels good. My vacation clients, I encourage them to get a new piece of jewelry or even a new tattoo or something that they can see and frequently, so that every time they notice it, it reminds them to do something, anything that feels good. Of course, like all of you, I listen to a lot of music, and I've also used that as a trigger to remind me to do something that feels good. So every time I realize that the last song has ended and I'm singing another song, I do something that feels good. And so that's like every 5 minutes all day, right? So, you know, you can also have people remind you. You can put things up around. You can set your phone to send you a text. I don't know. There's just a lot of different ways these days to remind us to do things that feel good. And every time we do, we're literally training our nervous system that that's what we want. And these tools help us through everything. I've been through it all, just like I know you have. So I'm really grateful that I have all this to share with you. So blessings, and I know we'll be in touch. Reach out to me whenever you're ready. And this is inspiring me to maybe make more of these videos, specifically for those of us who've been through this. So stay tuned. There's more where this came from. I love you, honey. And bless your beautiful, beautiful heart. We're gonna heal this thing together. Adios.